I'd like to call this meeting to order on January 30th at 1 p.m. And first, I would like to read the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that many Indigenous nations have longstanding relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which we are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that our watershed forms a part of the treaty and traditional territory of the southeastern Anishinaabe. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we live and work. To honor this legacy, we commit to being stewards of the natural environment and undertake to have a relationship of respect with our treaty partners. Thank you. At this point in the meeting, I would like to surrender the chair and appoint Mark McCroskey as chair to run the elections. If you would say.
We just need a motion for that.
Oh, and if someone would move and second that, that would be great. Jerry, Priya, all in favor? And that motion is carried.
Thank you so much. So the positions for chair and vice chair are elected from board of directors annually. I'll describe the process for elections for chair and vice chair. In the event of a vote by ballot, 2 scrutineers will need to be appointed and ballots are destroyed following the election. The election of the chair is followed by the election of the vice chair, and the procedures for elections are as follows. Nominations are called for from the floor. Nominations require a nominator only. When all nominations have been received and no further nomination is put forward after 3 calls, a motion to close nominations is requested. This motion requires a mover and a seconder and is voted upon. The suggested resolutions are provided within the board report. All nominees shall signify when asked if he or she will stand for the position. When nominations are closed, each candidate is given an opportunity to address the membership in the order of the alphabetical listing of his or her surnames. The election vote will be taken by electronic vote, since we do have remote members joining us as we move forward. An anonymous survey has been set up, which will be distributed in the event of an election. Ballots will be counted, in this case looked at, because the program actually does it, by the election scrutineers, and the results announced by the election chair. In the event of a tie vote, a second ballot will be taken. If that too is a tie, then a third vote is held. Should there be a tie vote after the third vote, the election will be decided from the draw of a hat. The election chair will declare the chair and vice chair following their election or acclamation. And as a reminder, there's been rules put into effect by the province for the election of officers. Chair and vice chair positions serve only 2 terms. In this case, we're good on both counts for the incumbents, and an incoming chair or vice chair cannot be from the same municipality as a member that served previously in that position, unless an exception is sought from the province. Following the election of chair and vice chair, I'll step down and the newly elected chair will assume the chair. So with that, we'll look at the appointment of scrutineers, slightly different than what was in the board agenda, since we did move to electronic vote based on available participation today. So I'd like to call for the motion that in the event of a vote by ballot, that John Chambers and Nancy Aspden will be appointed scrutineers, and that the ballots will be destroyed following the election. Can I have a mover? Yeah, I see Jerry, and seconded by Peter. So with that, I'll now ask for nominations for chair. Nominations, as a reminder, require nominator only. And when nominations have been received and no further nominations put forward after 3 calls, a motion to close nominations will be requested. With that, I see Peter has a nomination.
Yep, I'd like to nominate Pat Warren.
Okay, great. Thank you. And a second call for nominations for chair. And a third and final call for nominations for chair. And with that, what I'll do is I'll call for the nominations for position of chair be closed. Can I have a mover for the resolution? Jerry, and seconded by Priya. Your hand went up just a bit sooner there. And what I'll do is I'll move over to Director Warren to see if she will stand as chair for the Conservation Authority for 2025.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much.
Great. And would you like to address the membership?
Just briefly, it's been a pleasure and honor to have been chair last year, and I want to thank the board and all the staff for all the great things that they do, and to make Kawartha Conservation a great entity. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your new appointment as chair for 2025.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move to election for vice chair. I'll ask for nominations for vice chair. Again, nominations will require a nominator only. After 3 calls, we'll put a motion to close nominations. And with that, I'll ask for nominations for vice. Go ahead.
Through the chair, could I nominate Harold Wright for the position of deputy chair, please?
Yep, great. Thank you very much. And I'll ask for a second call for nominations for vice chair. And a third call for nominations for vice chair. And not seeing any, I'll call for a motion that the nominations for position of vice chair be closed. And again, I see Jerry, Director Byrne, has his hand up to move it. A seconder, please. And Director Richardson, thank you. With that, I'll ask if Director Wright would like to stand for the position.
Yes, I would stand for that position. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Would you like to address the membership?
Well, I could say a few words. Well, thank you very much. I will say that this has been quite a learning experience for me in the last couple of years being on the board. It continues to be a learning experience with every agenda that comes down. There seems to be something new in there that I can look into and gain something from. So it has definitely been a pleasurable and learning experience. And thank you all for entrusting me with this position. I look forward to the next year. Thank you very much.
Great. And congratulations on your appointment as vice chair for 2025.
Thank you.
Awesome. And so with that, what I'll do is I'll move it over for our chair to chair it. I know our chair is joining remotely, so she may pass it back to you, Harold. But I'll just confirm that's the case.
Yes, if Vice Chair Wright could direct the meeting, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
That would be fine.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Chair Warren. So the second item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. So if we've all looked over the agenda and there's nothing that wants to be added or deleted, if I could call for a motion that the agenda be approved from Mr. Franson, Director Franson, and Director Byrne. All in favor? And the motion is carried. Item 4, the approval of the minutes. Everyone got the minutes in the package and they've perused them. If there are no errors or omissions, I would call for a motion that the meetings be adopted as circulated. Director Richardson, Director Pettengill, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Was there any business arising from the minutes? None. No deputations we have today. And item number 7, presentations and applicable action items. Item 7.1 is the year in review. I shall pass it over to CAO, Mr. McCrosky, if you could give us a year in review for 2024.
Great. Thank you so much. We have, John was working hard over the last couple of weeks in order to get the annual report out to you. So we do have that in front of you. which highlights a number of the activities that we've done. We do have a video as well for you, which we'll play. And that was created by a lot of the video clips that we've collected or photos over the course of the year, and demonstrates a lot of the great work that we're doing. That was produced by Anita Cavan, who also helps John out on the communication side of things. It is my privilege to present the 2024 year in review. You have a board report that highlights a number of items that we've conducted during the course of the year. Highlights our accomplishments in alignment with our corporate strategic plan. This is the third year of our 2022 to 2026 strategic plan. And we've made significant strides in advancing our key priorities. Of course, this all comes through the innovation, collaboration, and steadfast commitment to our mission. We strengthened watershed communities and enhanced our relationship with our municipal partners and our communities. Our work is guided by our vision, which is engage communities that love, respect, and appreciate our natural environment. And we've successfully furthered strategic actions in all of our priority areas, which include protect and restore. We made advancements across all key action items to ensure the health and safety of our watershed. Under engage and inspire, we enhanced our community areas, community outreach, and engagement initiatives. And under innovation and enhancement, we also achieved gains in all of the actions through improved service delivery, organizational resilience, and resource management. I'll highlight some of the extra special highlights for each of the different departments that we have, starting out with corporate services. Very busy year in corporate services. We focused in on compliance with legislative updates, financial sustainability, and operational efficiency. And that was culminated with the 2024 budget. That was our first budget, new framework. We reworked all of the base of our financial operations in order to make sure that our legislative requirements were fitting and that everything flows from that framework and the budget, which includes our timesheets right through to the codes that we have to categorize the work that we do, to the financial statements that are presented in addition to the budget. We also implemented the pay equity and compensation review to ensure fairness and competitiveness in our workforce and helping us retain our top talent. We had significant improvements to our IT infrastructure and cybersecurity, which, as you'll find out as we move through the agenda, has been really key to some recent developments that we've been challenged with. Conservation lands and community engagement is another area of our business. We completed the conservation area strategy. That was a required legislative element to do. And what that does is helps us frame our work going forward in conservation lands, which is I think, exciting. And through that process, we also received a lot of support for the work that we're doing in our conservation lands. We put in new signage, did a bunch of boardwalk repairs, and really exciting was a low impact design feature here at Ken Reed Conservation Area, which has a number of low impact design features that will help us actually manage an actual issue that we're dealing with in terms of surface runoff. Our community events remain extremely popular with the Fall Fest, Christmas at Ken Reed, and Illuminated Forest. And all of those help everyone appreciate nature in a way that's meaningful to them, and that really helps further our vision. Stewardship services and environmental sustainability are key elements that we look at. On the stewardship side, we had some remarkable milestones in 2024, including planting over 64,000 trees and shrubs, which surpassed our strategic target threshold by a significant amount. Our water fund leveraged almost 326,000 in investments in watershed improvement projects. And we had a very significant involvement with the International Plowing Match, which saw about 50,000 attendees. And all of those individuals had an opportunity to see the work that we're doing and raise the awareness of the good work that we and other conservation authorities do in the province. Integrated watershed management was a busy year. We had Lake Dalrymple Management Plan finalized. That represents a decade's worth of lake management plans and developing for the lakes in our watershed area. And we look forward to implementing the lake management plans across the board. We've done lots of great work that was highlighted a little bit earlier in the some of the stewardship work that we're doing. Really exciting for me is some of the drone work that we're doing in sedimentation erosion management. And that's positioned us as leaders in environmental monitoring and managing our watershed. Our investments in real-time weather and groundwater monitoring stations has enhanced our ability to not only provide the information out to our communities, but make better decisions in a quicker way with better information behind it. So very, very exciting on that front. In planning, development, and engineering, we had a very busy year, and that was due to the new regulation that came out that changed a number of elements, which again required almost a wholesale change of our resourcing and our guidance. And that was due to Ontario Regulation 4124. Throughout all of this, we did achieve a very high compliance rate for permitting performance. When you look at the year overall, a couple of bumps in there, but really good performance on that end. And that really showcases our commitment to service excellence. We also completed floodplain mapping for Trent Lakes and finalized some work with Halliburton that we had going on. Source water was also very busy with a couple of amendments to the source protection plan that have been moved on to the province and with the review of development applications and building applications that tie into source water. So in conclusion, as I reflect back on 2024, I'd just like to really extend my gratitude to all of our staff, municipal partners, to yourselves, for all of your support. It really can't be done in isolation. We're really lucky to have a really engaged community and engaged partners, engaged board as well. I'm extremely happy with the work that we're doing and very proud of it. So look forward to continuing the next couple of years in a similar vein, achieving some great strides in our strategic plan. And just like to thank you for the time to present our 2024 accomplishments. We do have a video presentation, which we'll queue up here and just show you some of the highlights that we have.
Slightly obstructed. Absolutely.
Well, of those movies where leash you hanging.
Next episode will be released.
Yes, I was gonna say, obviously, there's gonna be a sequel.
Yeah.
Is
Season
it okay
2.
if I just restart that?
Or maybe scroll along.
Scroll along until we find the right spot?
Here we go.
Well done. Very nice.
That's everything. Yep. Hope everyone enjoyed the video and, yeah, as you can see, it's a great year and, really appreciate all of everyone's efforts to,
What are you laughing about?
You guys mushy over there.
Mrs. Claus is having a problem.
I like the Scrooge hopping.
yes, very
Who's
good.
that?
Freddie.
Yeah, that was
Needs
great.
time out.
Really great. It's such,
Yeah.
it's so much fun and so much getting done.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, pretty awesome. As you can see, some really dedicated people. Equally proud of all the work that they and their teams do as well.
Yes, it was very nice to sum up the year that way in the video. It shows everything that does happen in the year and all these people get to come see here. So with that, I'd like to call for a motion that the 2024 year in review and strategic plan accomplishments be received. Director Pettengill and Director Richardson, all in favor? And that motion is carried. Next, we have item 7.2, Years of Service Awards. Or could you want me to start off?
If you want to just identify,
Okay.
who's getting the award?
Well, this is always one of the best things to do in the start off of the year is to hand out the awards of service. So those who have dedicated time and an effort to keeping this operation floating down the path it's supposed to be on. And we'd like to take some time and appreciate those people right now. We have, with 5 years of service, Melanie Dolmar.
So we have Mel is our corporate services assistant, and actually, yeah, come on up. Mel is always on the always hidden, it seems, but she is the most person that you see the most at the same time. She's got so much. I'm at a loss for words, as you can see. She makes the organization work, is really what it amounts to. So she makes sure everything's taken care of. She's always thinking ahead. She doesn't like to be at the forefront a lot, so that's why she's staying back there for a bit. And she is not only, like I say, a key member of the corporate services team, but of the entire organization. If you know Mel, she's always willing to pitch in and help, and she's extremely caring as an individual. I consider her to be invaluable. I don't know what I would do without her. It's an extreme pleasure that she's been with us for already 5 years. It seems like it's less and more time all at the same time because it's flown by so quickly. But she's so good at what she does. It seems like she's been here longer. And anyway, so she's extremely diligent, caring, reliable, and just a pleasure to work with every day. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Help me bumble through my learning curve.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Byrne, for presenting that. And next we have on the list is the former risk management official, Jenna Stevens, with 10 years service as a source protection transmission technician too. Thank you. And call on Priya Pettengill to present that award. And Makarski.
So thank you. So Jenna is another invaluable member of our team. And I still consider her to be part of our team, even though she's gone to one of our beloved municipal partners. And that's because she's a truly amazing person. So if you know Jenna, she's extremely dedicated. She pushes for excellence in everything she does. She's quick to learn. You have to be when she was doing the work that she was doing, which is a lot of many pages of legislation you have to read and be attentive to all the pieces to ensure that there's compliance in all those ends. And like I say, she's always willing to learn. One of the things that she decided to do was always push herself on that learning front. So she recently, while she was working here, is managed the ability to become a planner. So she's currently working on that. She's worked through almost a couple years of that now, and well on her way to doing that. So I think it's really exciting, really reliable team member, always working in the best interest of the organization, and just like to congratulate Jenna for 10 years. And we promise she'll be back with presentations as well.
Excellent. Okay, next on the agenda of this awards is a longtime Kawartha Conservation Board of Director, Mr. Peter Francis.
So Peter has been a long-serving member of council, and when I was at council the other day, Peter mentioned that he's always been interested in municipal politics and entered into the political realm in 1991. So he's got a long tenure of knowledge in the community because he volunteers for a number of organizations in the community and has 10 years of dedicated service to our organization. So Peter is, I know Peter is diligent, thoughtful, and caring, steadfast. Like he's a really solid individual, and I think represents his community well. So I just like to recognize Peter's dedication to not only his community, but to environmental initiatives and Kawartha conservation.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, great photo.
I just want to say one constant I have of being here is Wanda.
Yeah. Yay, Wanda.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes.
We keep saying that, right? We keep seeing you, Wanda.
They want to keep it.
Yes.
And next on the agenda with 25 years of service, that's a long time. Our CAO, Mark McCroskey, and I'd like to call on Director Richardson to say a few words. If you
Well,
may.
thank you very much. And this is on behalf of our Chair Warren. She's suffering a nasty cold right now, so she passed along these nice words that I am speaking on her behalf of, and I'm sure all of ours when we hear this. It's an absolute honor to celebrate a truly remarkable milestone. So congratulations, Mark, on your 25 years of dedicated service to the Kawartha conservation. Mark, your journey was this of an organization is nothing short of extraordinary. Starting as a biologist and GIS specialist, you were instrumental in laying the foundation for the advanced environmental monitoring programs we now rely on. For initiating the Bethnic macroinvertebrate monitoring program and integrating GIS capabilities into the watershed planning, your early contributions showcase your vision and unwavering commitment to the conservation. As Director of Watershed Management, you took the compliment and the commitment even further, overseeing virtual technical programming, fostering partnerships and diverse stakeholders, and leading efforts to ensure that our water quality, quantity, and landscapes are managed with care and precision. Your strategic planning, ability to manage multi-stakeholder projects, and your mentorship of team members have set a standard of excellence that continues to inspire all. And of course, as Chief Administration Officer for nearly 8 years, you are truly evaluated how Kawartha conservation has been seen through the lens across Ontario. Under your leadership, this organization has flourished. You have guided us with wisdom, humility, vision, always striving to create a healthier, more sustainable watershed for the communities you serve. You cultivated meaningful partnerships, championed environmental stewardship, and ensure that the team operates with purpose and integrity. Your dedication, Mark, is deeply personal, and it shows, whether it's safeguarding Ontario's rivers, lakes, and wetlands, or ensuring public safety through flood forecasting and natural hazard management. Your work has made a lasting impact, not just on the watershed, but the lives of everybody is connected in our communities. Today, we recognize not only your professional achievements, but your passion, your leadership, your heart. You've built an enduring legacy at Kawartha Conservation, one that will be felt for decades to come. I've personally enjoyed working with Mark for many years. On behalf of the Board of Directors, your colleagues, and our community, thank you, Mark, for 25 years of outstanding service, leadership, and dedication. We're a true champion of the environment, and we're incredibly fortunate to have your guidance, your expertise for all these years. Congratulations on this well-deserved.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Director, Chair, Warren.
Ooh,
Thank
look,
you.
Beautiful. That was very nice. Yeah. Just down there, just- yeah. Wow, that's great. Thanks, God.
Artifact.
Yeah,
One was like, what?
yeah.
Thank you. And also, I've been informed, there's a nice little something here for Mark that the staff kind of came up with what they wanted you to have.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Thanks so much. I'm good. I had not expected this at all. Well wrapped. And I just realized it's a quarter century,
Yeah.
which I had not really thought about before just now.
Silver on anniversary. Is that?
My employee identification.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Very good.
Yes, it's been crazy. I can honestly say that over 25 years, I've never been bored in the position, and that's exactly why I say it, because it's always a challenge, always rewarding, and work with great people. So you can't get any better than that.
Okay,
Funny? Is it made of silver?
Oh, no, it's a lemonade card.
Oh. You all have them? This is.
We used to.
Yeah, from long time.
Down that dark.
Waterfront quality technician. Oh, that's scary. It looks fantastic. General manager.
So it was, yeah, it was his first
265.
summer with us,
Oh.
1998. So that's his ID card from when he was a student and he would go out in the field. We showed him ID card. And somehow I
Found
found
it.
it.
Oh,
That's pretty cool.
that's great.
so what has your ladder looked like? Where did you start to end up in this position?
I started out as a water quality specialist, which was the water bugs. Changed the name from benthic macroinvertebrates to water bugs. Just, it's easier. And then from there, was hired on for a biologist position. But really they were looking for a GIS because they knew GIS was going to be a big thing. And so it was a biologist and GIS position. And from there was lucky enough to be given a couple of opportunities. The very first one was, it was a big project, and it was the Nonquan River Watershed Plan. Back in 2002 is when we finished. And became director of watershed management for a while. A while. I don't know the number of years.
8 or 9 years.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and then was lucky enough to have the board have confidence in my abilities for CEO. So
Excellent, very well done. Good. Thank you. With that, then I would ask for a motion that the presentation of the years of service awards be received. Director Byrne, Director Richardson, all in favor? That motion is carried. Okay, item 8.1, permits issued. As Director Mantle is not with us today, I believe we, Christie, will you represent, or well,
Yeah,
Mark, you will be
yeah,
presenting those
yeah.
actually. Okay, Steve.
This is going into planning and development.
So I'll just provide a brief update on the permits. We do have our client service standards that we work from. These are Conservation Ontario derived standards. And all 36 conservation authorities try and meet those targets. The information is presented in the board report for what those timelines are by application. We have been dealing with a bit of a backlog, which has been a result of not having enough resources in that department for a little bit, with someone moving on to another area of our business. And so we have been trying to stay on top of things, but you can see that our performance is slipping as identified in the report for the Conservation Ontario stats, as well as the provincial stats on the review side of things, the initial application review. For Conservation Ontario stats, permit issuance is also lagging behind. We did make an improvement in the lag time, but the lag time's a bit much than what I like to see at the same time. So with the new hire that we have, Lindsay Green, we're confident that we'll be able to catch up in a couple of months' time. So that is the report as you see there. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions, Kriya?
Yes, thank you, and through you. I guess it's really more important to, when there's a shortage of resources, to wait and do this properly and not just hand out permits, right?
Yes, yeah.
A little bit of lag time is not going to hurt the environment.
Yeah, we do, thank you, through you, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Chair
Yes,
today.
Yeah, we review applications and we don't cut the corners. So we do get pressure in order to make sure that the applications are out on time. And because we do advertise the timeframe, so we have put out notices saying that there is a bit of a lag time right now, and that we're trying to make sure that we get everyone's permits out in a reasonable timeframe. But that being said, we do have some pressures right now, but we don't cut the corners on the reviews.
And I really appreciate that.
Okay, any further questions? If not, I would call for a motion that the following section 28 permits issued by staff be received. Permits issued 2024-314 to 2024-351. And permits revised 2023-201, 2023-359, 2023-410, and 2024-276. And that the permitting performance report be received. Director Byrne, Director Pettingill, all in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. And item 8.2, strategic actions update for the fourth quarter. Mr. CAO, if you could update us on that, please.
Yep. Thank you. Just a really brief update. You see the fourth quarter actions for the last quarter. A lot of those are rolled up into the annual report that you see. But some of those more specific actions are identified for the past 3 months of the year of 2024. All of our myself and directors are available in case you have any questions on the report.
Okay. Are there any questions of the report, Director France?
No, we're just gonna make a motion.
Okay, great. Well, that's good. If there are no questions, we will take the motion from Director Franson that the strategic actions update for the fourth quarter be received. Seconded by Director Richardson, all in favor, and that motion is carried. Moving us on to 8.3, the CAO report. If you would please, Mr. CAO, once more.
That's great, thank you. So I'm pleased to provide this month's CAO report outlining some key activities and updates that we've had over the last month or so since our last meeting. In corporate services, it's really been focused on year-end reporting, financial preparations for the coming year, supporting the budget consultation process, and some IT works to strengthen security measures, which I'll talk a little bit about as we go forward. And we've onboarded some new staff as well. Communications has been actively promoting a number of initiatives that will take place as we go forward: tree seedling sale, water fund, and the PARX program launch, which will be tied to the wellness days of Bell Let's Talk coming up in February, I believe, January 22nd. January 22nd. So it's already passed. And they've communications, as I mentioned, very busy with the year-end review video and 2024 annual report. We had a couple of watershed condition statements that were issued as well. And we saw a really good engagement on social media with our Illuminated Forest event, which was exciting and gained some followers as a result of that. In terms of some of the changes in staffing that we've seen over the past a month or so is I did mention our new permitting analyst, Lindsay Green, has joined us. So that's exciting. We had one of our conservation areas techs move on, and we did have a gentleman that was on a contract. He stepped into the position. He's excellent, an excellent choice, Jackson Boys. And the last item that was identified in the report was that Matt Mantle will be moving on from the Director of Planning and Development Services. So that'll happen February 14th. He will no longer be with us, so we wish him well on his endeavors. One thing that hasn't been identified in here, but I thought it'd be good to update everyone, is that Christy Virgo, our current Director of Stewardship and Conservation Lands, expressed some interest in the position. She always likes a new challenge as well. So I'm happy to announce that she will be appointed the interim director for that program.
Sorry, which program?
for planning and development. Yeah, so hot off the press. Of course, that means that there's a vacancy in stewardship and conservation lands as well that I'm working on a transition plan for. But very exciting for Christy. Congratulations.
But not today.
When did it begin?
The 18th. So right after Family Day.
Is it, can I ask you a question? What's that?
Yes.
Is this something when CAO Dursky said you'd like a new challenge, is this something that you already have experience in, or is it, I mean, obviously you know what it's about, but what kind of a jump in terms of a difference in your abilities is it going to call on?
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair. I have a lot of experience on building team and building excellence within teams. And I know that this area of our business has been struggling a little bit in that regard. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to dive in that way. I've had some experience over the last couple of years jumping in and helping out with some of the permitting pieces. I'm also a provincial offenses officer. So with regards to our regulations, I'm fairly well versed in that. I've work mostly from the conservation authority side or the conservation area side as opposed to the planning and development side, but you're trained in both and I'm authorized in both. So I'm looking forward to sort of exercising that a little bit and being able to use that training. It will be a bit of a learning curve for sure. There's lots of things that I, on a day-to-day basis, I'm not always, involved in, but I have been with the organization for quite a while and I have a really great mentor in Mark to help me through that process.
I know it seems really important to move around and do different things, and I guess you doing that. But so thanks for filling us in on those details.
Thank you.
Awesome. And I know Chrissy is going to be excellent in that role too. Yeah, she's got a lot of reading ahead of her. There's information technology has been a little bit interesting in the last, January. And we've been fortunate that we've been investing in our IT infrastructure over the last, 8 years. And I think that's really been important over the last while. We've been experiencing some cyber threats. And that's something that our IT professional has been trying to track down and has a good handle on it. We did have to implement some emergency measures to make sure that our information and infrastructure was protected. So we have bought a new firewall. It'll have a new multi-factor authentication for VPN access. And that was how they were trying to get in. So we would come into work and have blocked accounts because there's a timeout that occurs. And with this new system is a managed detection and response system. So it'll be much more robust in terms of those aspects. It's we have a third-party consultant and they say this is a very good move. And it was slated actually for next year, but given the concerns that we're having and the need to make sure that everything was protected, we did make sure that we had those implemented for 2025. And so we're really looking forward to having that in. I have actually shut down VPN access for the organization until planning and development services. We've been working on applications and permits. Efforts being spent to make sure our permitting analyst is trained. And we did have a successful funding application for Burt River floodplain mapping. So that work will begin in 2025. Stewardship and conservation lands. The illuminated forest, as I mentioned, it was popular on social media with lots of people enjoying those that trail, which I was able to partake in as well, and it was really gorgeous. 3,000 visitors in December, so that's really quite impressive. We've also sold about 4,500 seedlings with anticipation of 15,000 hopefully by May. So things are going well on that front as well. And in terms of some of our flood forecasting work, we had multiple watershed condition statements that were issued. A lot of it was a result of some frazzle ice that was occurring on the Otonabee River, which caused Trent Severn Waterway to manage the system. And we just want to make sure that there's a water safety conditions alerting the community, since that could produce some unstable ice conditions in our area. And our watershed remains in a level 1 for low water as well. Even though the precipitation bumped up, when you look at a 3-month average, it's still just a bit under where we want to see it. We had some really exciting work on the drones side of things. We analyzed a little bit more some of the information, and we're able to work with Beaumont Homes on making sure that the erosion sediment controls address the highest risk areas. So not just the silt fence that you put all the way around, but making sure there's additional protections where we knew that there was going to be some potential strain on that system. And our erosion control webpage and resources were visited 300 times, 3,600 views as well. So that's really demonstrates the interest that people have in making sure that the erosion protection measures are put in properly and won't fail. And with that, I will just end it there and see if there's any questions that board might have.
Director Byrne?
Through the chair, it's more of a comment rather than a question you could answer, but when we talk about IT, I'm old enough to remember when we're going to be a paperless society, right? Onset of technology and computers and all the rest of it. But I sit back and look at the additional costs that we are being exhausted now, because not only are we replacing hardware all the time, and the software updates and all the threats and all the losses because the threats don't get caught. I'm just wondering sometimes if the cost of all that, we should just stay with paper sometimes.
Well, would you like me to put a comment, Mr.
Sure.
Chair?
Sure. You can reply.
It's you're right. It's an interesting conundrum sometimes, but paper files can get destroyed too. So a house burns down or something like that, or building or whatever the case is, then you would lose records at that point. I remember a flood happening in one of the municipal buildings, and yours too. I know it was a different municipality I was thinking of, but the records were lost as well in that case. So there are challenges. Digital provides a nice way. Our backups are in secure locations, which is kind of nice. So you can always roll back and get those that information. You're right. There is a cost to having backups and making sure the firewalls are there, but a lot of this work is really making sure our infrastructure is safe and not necessarily just the management of records. The other part is you run out of storage too with paper files, and so that ends up being a cost as well. So there are costs on, I think, either side, no matter which way you manage. But I have seen that there's tremendous benefit, and like one of the reasons why our permitting moves so well is because the workflow is digital, and we have access to all the historical files, and we don't have to run and try and find them or go, like, I know some places have offsite storage that you have to run to in order to get the files, and having it digital is a huge time saver as well. So we have pluses and minuses on either end.
Okay. Any other comments on the report? If not, I would like to offer my congratulations to Christy too on your new role taking on. That's wonderful. And with that, I would call for a motion for the monthly report to be received. Director Byrne, Director Richardson, all in favor? Motion is carried. Item 8.4, Mr. CAO, do we have any correspondence?
Yes, thank you. We do have correspondence. There are several pieces of correspondence that are provided. I'll just highlight maybe a couple that would be of most interest. I'll point out the Township of Scugog press release. This is one that was identified by Director Rock at the last meeting, so I included this for everyone's benefit. The other one that I thought was interesting, there's a couple related to this, but the province of Ontario revising the emergency management framework. So they are looking at strengthening, providing more of a provincial hub for all sorts of emergencies. And it looks like some that are cyber attacks is one of those that were identified as a potential emergency. in addition to kind of the more standard ones like floods, wildlife fires, and other sorts of emergencies like that. There was the Ontario Corps as well that was launched by the provincial government as well to aid in the response for different emergencies. And that's primarily either professionals or different volunteers in the community that might be able to assist in the event of a emergency. And that was piloted as well in Gravenhurst is my understanding. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry did freeze our fees as well for 2025. So that the initiative to increase our fees on that front, this is the third year that they've been frozen, won't be going forward at this time too.
Sorry, the initiative to what them? The initiative to, they're frozen again.
Oh, we had initiative to pending, it was at the last board meeting, is the fees for planning and permitting. So we were looking at increasing the fees to be consistent with the multi-year difference that we're seeing.
Does Conservation Ontario reply to the province on this third year freezing?
We haven't had a meeting quite yet in so far in 2025. I know it's been a topic of conversation leading up to the end of the year. So December, there was a meeting and it was a topic there as well as the GM meetings. So I'm sure that'll be something that'll be brought forward.
It's getting to be a little problematic, isn't it?
We are seeing that there is a noticeable difference. We were lucky enough with the first fee freeze to have the next year's fees introduced. I've done some rough estimates that are, I think it's around about $20,000. If I remember right, 8,000. So yeah, right around there, 25. And so that's the impact of the fee freeze at this point in time, which as it advances, we operate on a full cost recovery model for those services, which means that we're definitely losing on that return rate that we're trying to achieve. So that means that municipal levy is supporting those programs now. And as we move forward with another year, at some point in time, you're going to hit a body pretty soon. And there is pressure in that department. We know that there's a lot of development pressure coming to the watershed as well. And that's going to represent a significant challenge for us and potentially this budget coming forward in 2026.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, then I would call for a motion that the correspondence be received. Director Pettengill, Director Byrne, all in favor? That motion is carried. Item 9.1, administrative resolutions for 2025. Wanda Stevens, interim director, you have a presentation on that, or do we need a presentation on this, or Mark?
I might have forgot to mention this one to Wanda.
I'm sure that won't be a problem.
If you want one, I can.
Do we need a presentation or can I just read the motion?
Yeah, it's really just a motion. We update our all of our administrative services at the beginning of the year. And that's really what this is doing, is updating the bank, which is the same, and our lawyers. Some tied to the bank, there's also, if we do need a loan, that there's an amount that's identified. And the last one is our insurance firm. We have appointed the auditors for a 3-year term, so that's we're good on that front.
Okay, if no one has any questions or comments on that, I shall read the motion now. Director Byrne? I'll read the motion.
Yes.
You can, okay. So the motion is be it resolved that the Royal Bank Lindsay branch be appointed as the bank for Kawartha Region Conservation Authority for 2025. Item 2, be it resolved that the Kawartha Region Conservation Authority may borrow from the Royal Bank at the bank's prime rate of interest up to the sum of $350,000 necessary for its purposes until payment to the authority of any grants and sums to be paid to the authority by the participating municipalities, and that the normal signing officers of the authority are hereby authorized to execute for and on behalf of the authority a promissory note or notes for the sum to be borrowed and to affix thereto the corporate seal of authority. And that the amount borrowed pursuant to this resolution, together with interest thereon at the Royal Bank's prime rate of interest, be of charge upon the whole of the authority by way of grants, as when such monies are received, and of sums received or to be received by the authority from the participating municipalities, as and when such monies are received. And that the normal signing officers of the authority hereby authorized and directed to apply in payment of the monies borrowed pursuant to this resolution, together with interest thereon at the Royal Bank's prime rate of interest, monies received by the authority by way of grants or sums received by the authority from the participating municipalities. Item 3, resolved that for the year 2025, the firm of Hicks, Morley, Hamilton, Stewart, Story, LLP will be appointed as solicitors for human resource matters and
Okay.
that Gardner Roberts LLP and Due Process Legal Services be appointed as the solicitors for matters dealing with planning and regulations, and that friend and in-law be appointed as solicitor for general legal matters. And item 4, resolved that the brokerage firm of Westland Insurance be appointed to coordinate our insurance policy for 2025. There you have it. Finally got my
I like it.
throat cleared by the end of it. And could we have a motion by Director Byrne and seconder? Director Richardson, all in favor? And that motion is carried. Okay, item 9.2, the fees schedule update. Christie, have a report.
Yes. So you'll remember that back in November, we brought forward a recommendation for some increase in our fees with regards to our conservation areas, some updates to some of the infrastructure, such as some electricity at one of our pavilions. We've increased the price of rental for that, as well as some of our stewardship fees, so the fees for forestry as well as our native plant sale. So we put forward the fee schedule for your consideration. It was approved for circulation, which we did. And of course, we're now past the 30 days, but we didn't quite make it for the December board meeting. So we left it up over the Christmas holidays. Did not receive any feedback from the community with regards to any of the increases, positive or negative. And so today we're looking for your support so that we can implement those fee changes.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments on the new schedule, please? If not, I would ask a motion to the updated fee schedule be approved for 2025. Director Franson, moved. Director Pettengill is seconded. All in favor? That motion is carried. 9.3, delegation of permit issuance authority authorization. Mr. CAO?
Yes, thank you. So cat's out of the bag now. With Christie at the time of writing this report, it was an option that we're looking at for Christie to provide some relief on the permits, and but we hadn't got all the pieces quite in play yet. So now this probably all makes more sense in terms of the ability for Christie to approve permits and permit extensions under the current regulation for development. And we're looking at effective immediately that Christie be able to issue those permissions for for development works that are similar to the ones that Matt and I currently have that are not a significant departure from the current policies that don't extend beyond a time frame of 5 years because that's a regulated item and contain permits conditions to which the applicant agrees. So.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? No? If not, I shall read the resolution. Be it resolved that the authority to approve permits and permit extensions under Ontario Regulation 41/24 be delegated to Christy Virgo, effective immediately for applications which are not a significant departure from board-approved Kawartha conservation policies and procedures, and for permits or permit extensions not extend beyond a time frame of 60 months, contain permit conditions to which applicant agrees. I have a motion to accept that. Director Byrne, the seconder. Director Richardson, all in favor. Motion is carried. And one little last item on the agenda for today, 9.4, 2025, the operating and capital budget.
This one I'm better prepared for.
Okay. I feel confident asking Wanda if you could present the capital budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
To
I'll be brief. The budget's been in front of you a few times. So the 25 budgets, we've been following the timetable. We're right on schedule. Today's for the vote of the levy and the budget itself. We circulated the document December the 11th of 2024, and we have not at this time received any written comments objecting to the 25 apportionments. So there are 2 recorded votes today for clarity. The first resolution is a weighted vote for the approval of the municipal levy apportionments for general operating and category 1 mandatory programs of $1,885,249. Your apportionments are listed there. And then category 3, other programs and services totaling $90,850, and your apportionments are listed below that. The weighted vote, and further, there's a category 2, which is the municipal programs and services of $689,894. That proceeds as funded by those individual benefiting municipalities. The weighted vote is carried by 51% of those in the room. So those present, the weighting percentages are available on chart and the chart on page 2. And today we have 61.1% of the vote in the room. Oh, it shut down. Just my luck. I was prepared to almost, they're gonna have to bump me up on the agenda. So today we have 61.1% of the vote in the room. And that would be 31.2% of the vote would pass the budget, the resolution. The second resolution within this document is to approve the overall operating and capital budget. This is a recorded vote also, and each member has 1 equal vote. The vote is carried by a majority. So from here, unless there is questions, Mr. Chair, we would be able to call the vote.
Okay, is there any questions on budget? Yes, Director Byrne.
Through the chair, just for clarity, so the ones in the room, the second one's in the room as well, when you're online, like.
Yes, that would count
That would count as in the room.
as attending.
Okay, just for my own clarity.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So we will proceed with resolution number 1 first. And this is a recorded vote?
This is a recorded weighted vote, Mr. Chair.
So do we have to call people by we have a list?
Yes,
And
we
Eric?
have a list, and Melanie will help out with that roll call and the voting process there.
Okay, so shall I read this resolution before I do that? How do we do that? How do you want it?
It's entirely your preference. You can read it out for everyone's clarity if you really want, but it is identified in the agenda package, and nothing's changed.
Okay, so fine. If anyone doesn't really need that to be repeated, we shall go ahead and proceed with the weighted vote on the first portion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will call you out going alphabetically by surname, with the chair going last. If you could just provide your vote as yes, no, or abstain, starting with Director Burke.
Yes.
Thank you. And Director Franklin.
Yes.
Director Pettigrew.
Yes.
I'll note that Director Rang is marked as absent for today.
Actually,
Lloyd's joined.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see the bottom. So, Director Rang, your vote, please.
yes, yes, thank you.
Director Richardson.
Yes.
I will also note that Director Rock is marked as absent, and then we also do have a vacant space for the city clerk relates. So next would be Vice Chair Wright,
Yes.
and lastly, the chair.
Yes.
Thank you. So with all of that, the 2024 budget is approved by the Board of Directors for the vote.
Yes. Sorry, we were in discussion.
The final results are that the 2025 budget is approved by the Board of Directors for the weighted vote.
Thank you. Okay, and moving on still for the second portion of that, resolution 2. That is a vote by members in the room, correct?
Yes. One for one.
Okay. So, we shall call for a vote on resolution for second part of the budget. This doesn't need to be moved and seconded, does it? Just needs to be voted upon.
Yes, it needs to be voted upon and then it's
Then it's moved already. Okay. So is all in favor?
Mr. Chair, I believe this is a recorded vote,
recorded.
not weighted, but
Yes.
recorded.
Okay, so we'll still have to call it out one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you wish to do that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Chair. Director Burke,
Yes.
Director Francis,
Yes.
Director Pettigrew,
Yes.
Director Rang,
Yes,
Director Richardson,
Yes.
Director Rock is vacant, as well as the City Clerk Lakes, Vice Chair Wright,
Yes,
and Chair Warren.
Yes.
So that passes as well.
okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, Madam Chair.
I have a hypothetical question that doesn't need to be answered today, but it's just kind of an interesting thing. I've been involved in a few of these votes over the years. And if you're missing one of the directors, because their chair is vacant, how would that work? I'm just putting that out there. I don't need that answered today, but something to look at.
Mr. CAO, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, absolutely. So the way it works is that that position is absent and therefore would be identified as a vote that's not contributing to the overall whole. And that's what occurs in actually at today's meeting is that traditionally you would have 100% of the vote if you had every member present. And then for the apportionment that's each member is representing, it gets dropped if they're not present. So in this case, we have, for instance, a city member and a member from Region of Durham participating municipalities that aren't present. So it dropped by 16.6% and about 11 and a bit. And then it's the collective out of that remaining percentage, 51% passes the vote.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on that? So, okay, where are we at? We need a motion that these votes be recorded.
We are, I think we're good at this point. Yeah.
Should be. Okay, so that's passed, everything's good. And that should take care of the budget, and then we can move on to item 10, new business. Is there any new business? Seeing none, we can ask, are there any reports or updates from board members?
I have something, just quickly.
Yes.
Had
Go on.
a wonderful time in the ocean snorkeling for 2 weeks, but I'm paying for it big time right now.
Where was she?
In Mexico.
Okay,
Mexico City.
No, Huatuco, Mexico, and I spent almost 2 or 3 hours a day in the ocean every day. So it was fabulous.
very good.
Sorry, you're ill.
I'm paying for it now.
Excellent. Well, we hope you're during the next meeting.
Thank you.
In stellar shape. Anyone else? Updates for? Okay, if there is nothing else, we do not have a closed session today. So with that, I would call for a motion to adjourn at 2:15. Director Burns? Director Richardson, all in favor? Motion carried. And there is
Thanks, Harold.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thank you. And there is an actual notice that the February 27th meeting has been canceled. The next meeting will be March 27th.
So as long as that works for everyone, if we have any critical business, we'll do that, but it'll allow some of the transitions to.
Yes.
Yep.
February 27th.
Also, the February meeting.
Yep.
We should all go on holiday.
There you go.
We have traditionally canceled about 50% of the Februarys. It's just all the legislative amendments.
No,
In the last couple of years, we had to make sure we have.
Thank you.